Hi, everybody. My name's Tim. I'm a music therapist. I'm a friend of Joe's. My daughter had a very rare disease. She was born May 27th, 2009, with a condition called Epidermolysis Bullosa, or EB. And EB is a disease where it's characterized by the absence of the Velcro that holds your skin to your body. So if you'll imagine sod, and when you lay sod down, you have grass, and then you have the dirt, but there's nothing holding it yet because the roots haven't grown, right? Well, sod's not very stable. If you push on it or change directions on it, it just rubs right off. EB is a disease where the skin, just like fresh sod, doesn't have the anchoring fibrils to connect it to the body. So it just floats essentially on the human body. And so if you rub it, it rubs right off. So when my daughter was born, she was born without any skin on her left leg. She was breached, so we did a C-section. When they pulled her out, they tore all the skin right off her hips, her armpits, and there were finger holes in her left buttock from the doctor as he was gripping her buttock with his latex gloves to pull her out. So we went out and found out what's the medical world know about EB? Well, there's no cure. It's a fatal childhood disease. Your child will be in pain all the time. It affects their mouth, their throat, all of their skin, their perianal area, and they'll have blisters and open wounds throughout their life. They won't be able to eat or swallow. They will eventually die of either secondary infection, malnutrition, or if they make it to their teens, all the scarring turns into squamous cell carcinoma, which is 90% lethal form of skin cancer. And that was my daughter's prognosis. So there's a study at the University of Minnesota, turns out, to try to use bone marrow transplant as a treatment tool to heal or correct EB. And it's done by a doctor named John Wagner, and he took on EB 2 years ago. And when we met him, he had 7 patients that he had done this treatment on. And through bone marrow transplant, they actually are growing the sibling skin on the patient's body. So the stem cells know how to assimilate into the missing collagen and the missing skin cells in the new body. It's fascinating. And there's some sort of signal that the body sends when it's wounded, and they home in on those wounds, and they go heal that part of the body first. And they don't know why it works. They know that it works. There's a kid, Carrick, who had a G-tube, a feeding tube. He eats Doritos now. Now, anyone stabbed the top of their roof of their mouth with a Dorito before? That's like the sharpest food you could possibly eat, right? That's like, it's something sharper, like a pretzel. No, Doritos have it, dude. That corner, that'll kill you. So Carrick can eat Doritos now because he's produced his brother's collagen in his brother through this transplant. In the month of December last year, when we were considering transplant, there were 4 children that died across the country that month alone from EB for various reasons. And we thought, if we sit back and wait for them to get it right and she dies, we'll never forgive ourselves. So if we have the opportunity to save our daughter, learn something about this disease, and be on a continuum towards a cure, we're in. That's it. There's no looking back for us. So we went to Minnesota. I spent 5 months in Minnesota this summer, started the transplant, really believing as a candidate, my daughter was a perfect candidate statistically. No other problems, strong heart, strong organs, older donor, immune system under 2, everything according to the pros who knew something said this was a no-brainer. Everything that could have gone wrong did. So I spent 99 days in a 10-by-10 room in the intensive care unit once she was intubated from these complications. And I took on every doctor and every nurse and every respiratory therapist known to man because they all work for me. You can't fire me, I'm dad. They are in service to my daughter. I am not in service to their ego. So I was in every rounds. I was the case manager. I was the only person in every rounds because everybody else rotates off. So nobody knows the story of Bella like I do. Right? So nobody knows your patient, your loved one, when your loved ones go into the hospital. No one that wears a badge knows that person like you do. So never let them intimidate you as to what you know about them or don't know about them because you don't have a degree. Because they get to go home and your loved one doesn't. So we did the study. After 99 days in the ICU, on day 101 of the study, my daughter's heart stopped. I wrote a blog to kind of keep people posted in my life about it, and started it when she was born. And when I went into the hospital, I blogged daily, which is quite a commitment of time despite your exhaustion level to write daily. But what happened was people from around the world started to learn about my daughter, because this is a breakthrough treatment. If this treatment works, it will lead to the treatment of over 400 different skin diseases. And so what I started to write about was my experience and what I'm going through, and try to be as naked and vulnerable as possible. And in doing so, people got permission to live through whatever they're living through me. And now, after my daughter has died, I've been writing about the grief journey. And people are grieving for their loved ones through my grief. And they're like, I had a mom write me, she goes, I've been having problems with my husband for 10 years because I never got over my dad's death. After my dad died, I promised I'd never go all in on another man. So I haven't gone in on my son all in, my other son, or my husband. And now, if I can see you grieve the way you're grieving and still choose your family and go all in and love your family at all costs, I can do the same for mine. Because let's face it, folks, love, there is a cost to loving people, and that's the loss, the pain of the loss. And there's a difference between pain and suffering. Pain is a signal. Suffering is the story you tell about that signal. So I will tell you, honestly, I am in a lot of pain, but I am not suffering. So while the result wasn't what we hoped, what was produced as a result of the journey has been far greater, far greater. Because it's not about me, it's not about my wife, it's not even about Bella's quantity of life. She impacted more people in 17 months than most of us did in our first 17 years. So quantity and quality for me of life is far more important than quantity of life, because if you're not doing anything with the quantity of your life, what's the point? What's the point? You're taking up space and using up oxygen. Congratulations. If you're not producing something in the world and you're just consuming with the life you have, please get out of the way, because there's people like the people in this room who are trying to actually create something with the world, right? So I wrote the doctors and I said, I'm your partner. Here's my new vision. Because I had a vision for my daughter, and my vision that I said every day, despite I had no evidence to believe this, was that one day Bella will look back and say, yeah, when I was born, I had this rare skin condition. But when they took me home from the hospital, it went away. And I said that every day, and I wrote it on the blog every day, and I had no reason to believe that would come true. And when her dad and the other EB angels came down from heaven to take her home, her EB went away. Now, that may not have been the context that I thought of when I created that possibility, but that's a far greater context than the one I originally thought I was creating, and a far more glorious vision for me. Now, there's some work to do. You know, we know that this research is working, but we don't know why. We don't know what stem cells are the ones causing the actual transplant to work. It's going to take the researchers another 1,000,005 or 1,050,000. I have the budget. They're like, here's the budget. I said, send me the menu. I'll start ordering off it. I'll get you what you need. So now my mission in life is that 10 years from October 11th, 2010, there are various treatments for EB, and no child ever again has to die from this disease. Well, when my wife Angelique was pregnant, I wrote a song for Bella, and I played it every night to my mama's belly, or her mama's belly. That's weird. And I hate possessive pronouns. And when she was born, I recorded it, and as she was being born, she was born to the song, and I orchestrated that moment. What you don't know is that the moment that her monitor's heart rate said 0, it came on my iPod in the room, and it was 45 minutes into the middle of a playlist. So I got to be the soundtrack of my own daughter's transformation into life and then into afterlife. The first moment was orchestrated by me. The second moment was orchestrated by God. So I thought being the soundtrack of some stranger going to heaven is cool. And what I really got when I got committed to that and went back to school for 4 years in my 30s and I have a giant student loan, what I really got was to be the soundtrack of my own daughter's transformation into heaven. And if you had told me that was possible when I came up with that idea, I wouldn't have believed that. That's just too cool to think of. So now I'm going to finish. I'm going to share that song with you. Bella, Bella, your name means beauty. Beauty that comes from inside. Beauty we all can see. Bella, Bella, abundance is the game. Give to others everything, and they will do the same. Live, love, laugh, life is a game to play so that everyone wins. Bella, Bella, life goes by fast. Don't get stuck in the future or the past. Bella, Bella, you're blessed with everything. Strength, wisdom, intelligence, anything you need. Live, love, laugh, life is a game to play so that everyone wins. But don't be afraid to ask for help. God will always answer you in his or her own way. Bella, Bella, your sister loves you so. She'll watch out for you and help you to grow. Bella, Bella, remember life is good. Give to it everything you want in return. Live, love, laugh, life is a game to play so that everyone wins. Live, love, laugh, life is a game to play so that everyone wins.
And how do people read your blog? You wrote a book about Bella.
So there's a couple things. My blog is careforannabella.com. That's where the blog is. Or you can go to bellasblessings.com, and that will take you there, either place. I blog daily about her. I wrote a book about her first 3 months called Bella's Blessings, A Humble Story of Providence. We're part of an organization called PUC, Pioneering Unique Cures for Kids. You can go to puckfund.org if you want to make a donation in Bella's name. That's available. To the degree that you're inspired to be a part of our journey, we welcome you and thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.